Last week, I talked about getting stakeholders actively involved in UX activities like research sessions and workshops. And that engagement is brilliant for building empathy and support, but it will only take you so far if everyone then retreats back into their own departmental bubbles afterwards. So, with that in mind, this week I want to focus on something that will amplify all of that good work, which is breaking down some of those business silos that keep teams isolated from one another. You see, in most organizations, different teams work in their own little worlds. Developers, marketers, product owners, business analysts. They all contribute to and impact the user experience, but they rarely talk to each other beyond handoffs and status updates. This creates two problems for you as a UX leader. First, it causes friction in the user experience itself. When users move from one part of the product or service to another, they're effectively moving between teams. If those teams don't collaborate, users literally fall between the gaps. I've seen this happen over and over again. A sales team promises one thing, then another department doesn't deliver it, or the customer goes through a complaint process that gets a resolution, but the information never reaches the finance team who keep invoicing them anyway. Users get caught in the crossfire of departments that aren't really talking to each other. These breakdowns aren't just annoying, they damage trust, create support overheads, and drive customers away. And from a UX perspective, you can have the most beautiful interface in the world, but if the experience breaks down because departments aren't aligned, none of that's going to matter. The second area is much simpler. Your ability to change the culture will be limited by which teams you can access and influence. If you're stuck in one business silo, the impact stays trapped there too. When you start collaborating across departmental lines, good things happen. For a start, you plug the gaps in the user experience. When teams start working together, you can identify and fix those places where users fall between the cracks. Sales and delivery get aligned, support issues get fed back to the team that can fix them, that kind of thing. Information flows across departmental boundaries instead of being stopped by them. You also gain better business insights. You'll understand how UX affects different parts of the organization and what motivates other teams. The knowledge helps you to frame UX in a way that matters to everybody. You also gain better business insights. You'll understand how UX affects different parts of the organization and what motivates those other teams. And that knowledge helps you to frame UX in a way that matters to them. You also build cross-departmental UX advocacy. When other teams see how UX helps them achieve their goals, they become advocates. That momentum then spreads much faster than anything you could do alone. You can also increase your team's influence. As you collaborate and demonstrate value, you become essential to strategy and decision-making across departments, not just within your own corner. And finally, you streamline processes. Collaboration helps you to integrate UX into different workflows and ensure that processes work better together. You deliver results faster and remove false assumptions that people make about UX being slow or impractical. Of course, you can't be everywhere at once, especially early on, so you need to focus your energy on 4 groups that will give you the biggest return. The first group is sales and marketing, because they feel the impact of poor user experience most directly. If you help them to improve their conversion rate, average order value, and lead quality, you'll be improving the metrics that senior management really care about. Everyone wants to make more money, and this is the most direct path to those conversions. Secondly, there's customer support who care deeply about retention. It's much more expensive to win a new customer than to keep an existing one, so reducing churn matters. Work with support to identify where UX improvements can reduce complaints and improve retention. You'll find that they're usually quite receptive because better UX makes their job easier. Then there's development, and development has a huge impact on the user experience through performance, security, and technical implementation. They're often frustrated by things like design bottlenecks, so working with them to help improve and streamline handoff can go a long way to bringing them on board. You can also empower developers to handle the more routine UX work themselves. And finally, there's business analysts, if your organization has them. And they evaluate the potential of projects and opportunities. And so they understand the importance of user acceptance, but they don't often feel qualified or equipped to assess it. If you can help them evaluate projects from a user's perspective, you'll become invaluable to their process. Look, let me break down what's worked for me. First of all, I'd recommend conducting some user interviews. Book in some casual chats with representatives from those different departments. Ask about their challenges and explore ways that your team might support them. This shows genuine interest and positions you as someone looking to help, not looking for help. And that is really powerful. Secondly, there is offering resources, as we've talked about many times before, providing tools, time, and advice to help them overcome their challenges. Give before you ask. It builds trust much faster than any formal presentation ever would. Then you can also run exchange programs. Suggest shadowing each other for a day or swapping team members for a week. Yes, it's a bit of an investment, but understanding each other's roles transforms how you will work together. Then there's collaboration on standards. When you're setting standards for accessibility, content, and research methods, engage the departments you're creating them for. They'll have valuable input and standards will work better for everyone. And people are much more likely to follow standards they helped create. And then finally, prototype together. Get different types of people together into the room, maybe a developer, a marketer, and you, and just create something collaboratively, free from the normal constraints, working towards a shared vision. It's rewarding and it's a great way to break down barriers fast. One more thing that is incredibly powerful if you possibly can pull it off, which is to suggest that your UX team becomes its own center of excellence, independent from any existing business silo. And that eliminates the perception that you're only responsible for one area and recognizes that user experience affects every part of the organization. It's not always possible, and if it isn't, then don't worry about it, but it's certainly worth consideration. So far in this series, I've focused on building relationships and demonstrating value internally. But sometimes the most powerful way of building credibility inside your organization is actually to bring in validation from outside. So next week, I'll talk about using external benchmarking, industry recognition, and expert voices to reinforce your position and give your recommendations more weight. It's a tactic that I've used more times than I can possibly count, and it works really well.